Manfred Weber, good morning and welcome to our show. And the first question I would like to ask you, Mr. Weber, have you been vaccinated already?
No, I'm not vaccinated yet. I'm in a way too young for this, and that's good. We have clear rules for those who are really vulnerable, and they should be the first. And that's good for Europe, that we have clear rules for this.
Okay, we will talk about the vaccination strategy and policy in Europe later on. But first of all, let's go back to this moment that everybody has seen in the world, I think. The visit of Ursula von der Leyen, the European President of the Commission and President of the European Council, Charles Michel, to Ankara and President Erdogan. This is what has happened, that what now has been typecasted as Sofagate. So, Mr. Weber, when you saw these images of Ursula von der Leyen standing there and not having a chair, literally at the table, what did you think?
I thought that the image of Europe being a strong and firm partner was extremely weakened. That we are not united as European Union between Council and Commission. And we could not show to the Turkish president that we are firm, that we know what we want to do and what we want to achieve. Again, a signal of weakness, and that was very bad.
Yeah, I want to talk with you about President Erdogan, but first, Charles Michel, in this image. What is wrong with this ego? Why does he sit on a chair and leaves Ursula von der Leyen standing in the room? That's crazy.
Well, whenever Mark Rutte, Angela Merkel or Emmanuel Macron travels to another country, the protocol prepares everything in a perfect way. And that was already one of the problems we face on European level, that things are not perfectly prepared. These things can happen, and that is bad. And the second thing is that Charles Michel normally should have insisted that they are equally treated, that both are representatives from the European Union. One is Commission, the powerful administration in Brussels, and second is Council level. That are the two main institutions next to the European Parliament. And that's why, again, this was a bad image. But I tell you, the more important thing for me is that our two representatives promised in Turkey things to Erdogan, which I and the European Parliament will not deliver. For example, on the visa liberalization, we don't see that Turkey is moving on their terrorist legislation. And without this, we cannot open visa regime for Turkey. And other points is also the economy. Still, Turkey is on a very aggressive path and a very aggressive way towards Greece, Cyprus and Europe as a whole. And that's why we cannot open our economic borders to Turkey further. So that is my bigger worry.
Right. So the Italian Prime Minister, Mario Draghi, said literally Erdogan is a dictator. And you said Draghi is right. Do you call Erdogan also a dictator?
Well, it's obvious. It's obvious that Turkey went in the last years in the wrong direction. Whenever you speak with journalists in Turkey, you know what is happening there. So we are arriving to an autocratic system in Turkey. That's obvious. And I think in this regard, we should be frank and open to each other. The starting point of a good relationship is to be frank and honest.
Wait a minute, Mr. Weber. Do you call him a dictator? That was the question.
Well, it is a kind of a dictator. You know, we have different kinds of this style of governing, but the direction is absolutely obvious that it goes in the direction of a dictatorship because Erdogan has all power in his hand. You see it on the market side, you see it on the judiciary, you see it on the media side. So that's obvious. And again, the precondition for a good relationship is to be honest to each other. And what I cannot understand as a representative of the Christian Democrats in Europe, what I cannot understand is that we are still negotiating the full enlargement to the Turkish Republic, to the European Union. You know, for me, the first step is having this current situation, with gas dispute, with rule of law, with Syria, with Libya, with all the conflicts in mind. The main message is now, let's stop the enlargement talks. Turkey cannot become member of the European Union.
Well, that's news to me that you are saying this because the people in charge, Charles Michel and Ursula von der Leyen, are still working on this. So you call the president of Turkey a dictator. You say, stop with negotiation. Don't let them be a member of the EU. Stop altogether. No negotiations anymore with Turkey because the guy is not trustworthy.
Again, the starting point for any kind of relationship in private life, but also among states, is to be honest and frank to each other, to tell the truth. And the truth is that Turkey cannot become a member of the European Union. Full stop. That's the truth. And we should say this publicly. We should tell this to our Turkish friends. But it should not be the message of closing doors. Turkey is a neighbor, whether we like them or not, but they are neighbors of the European Union. We have to work with them. And that's why let's close this enlargement chapter and let's open a new chapter. And that means case by case cooperation, like we do it on the migration side. This is a successful exercise over the last years that we worked together. We spent a lot of money. We helped Turkey, and Turkey helped up to control the illegal migration. That was a positive example, and that should be the model for the future.
Very clear. Now, let's shift to the vaccination policy in the European Union. Why is it such a mess in the European Union while countries like the United Kingdom and the United States are very successful with their vaccination program and Europe totally not?
Well, UK and US are successful because they are egoistic. They are even nationalistic. They don't export any single doses. We exported around 20 million doses to Great Britain. They only had the chance to vaccinate so fast their population because we delivered. And we were still believing in this idea of open markets, of supply chains, of readiness to respect contracts on global level. Great Britain and US were not ready to do so.
So are you saying that you are saying they are egoistic? At the same time, you could say the leadership in Brussels of the EU is a bunch of amateurs.
Well, you can always blame them for doing so. And I tell you, yes, the message of the first quarter of this year is that the world outside of Europe is cold and egoistic. And that's why we should not be naive as Europeans. That is what we have to learn out of the first 3 months of this year. Yes. And that's why I'm absolutely in favor to stop now AstraZeneca deliveries from the European plants, from the European production to the rest of the world, because AstraZeneca is not respecting their contracts. And that's why let's be firm.
Close the borders. You're saying close the borders for export to other countries. Also, you say the outside world is very cold and egoistic, but at the same time, your home state of Bavaria secretly bought 2.5 million Sputnik vaccines from Russia. So who is egoistic here?
Well, every country has a chance to buy vaccines, but everybody in Germany, the Health Minister and also my Prime Minister in Bavaria said clearly that they will not use Sputnik without the approval of the EMA, the European Medicine Agency. Mm-hmm. That is the precondition for everything. And that is exactly respecting the rules. First rule was that we don't want to have first and second class Europeans in Europe, that the Dutch people are equally treated like the Belgians, like the Germans, like the French people. And that was a good decision in autumn last year, to not start a vaccine war like we have it now with Great Britain among all of us in the European Union. And the second point was to respect our experts on the European Medicine Agency. Say no whether a vaccine is a good one and whether it's not a good one.
But listen, if Bavaria is buying secretly, I mean, that shows that this whole EU policy is a farce.
No. The Germany and also Bavaria is fully part of the EU vaccination strategy, and that is the backbone. That is the real content. You know, Sputnik cannot produce. So for me, Sputnik debate is mainly a fake debate in a way that they are promising production for the end of the year. Mm-hmm. They will not contribute for the summer promise, and that's for us the most important thing. That Europe already failed in the first phase, and let's be frank about this. People are disappointed about Europe that we could not deliver in the first quarter of this year enough doses for our European citizens. And to win back trust for the European...
This is all about money, Mr. Weber, isn't it? This is all about money. I mean, as you know, Israel, the United States, the UK, they paid way more for the vaccines, and Europe was very stingy.
But we have a contract. Sorry, I still believe that if a pharmaceutical company signs a contract with the European Union, whether it's a good price or not a good price, but they signed it, they are committed to this. That is what I believe in. Mm-hmm. And that's why if somebody is not reliable, if somebody is not respecting the rules, then we should be tough. And that means full export ban for AstraZeneca products from the European Union to the rest of the world until they have a clear commitment to their contract.
Yeah. Funny that you say so, because many people in Europe don't believe in the effectiveness of AstraZeneca anymore after the negative publicity of the last couple of days. I mean, why would you even want to have it?
you're right, there is a burden for this concrete vaccine. And the backbone of our vaccination strategy is BioNTech, Pfizer. They are good in productions. They are really committed to their contracts. And we can be proud as Europeans that BioNTech, as a European company, was the first to be good enough in research to produce such an effective vaccine. So that helps us a lot. And you're right, AstraZeneca is the bad guy in this game. And that's why we should be very tough on this. Still, the demand is much higher, Mr. House. The demand is much higher than we have the production currently. And that's why AstraZeneca is helpful.
Okay. One more question, Mr. Weber. Maybe you have heard that in the Netherlands, it's going very bad with the vaccination program that we have here. And we are, I think, number 3 bottom line in the row in Europe. Is that because Brussels doesn't send any vaccines here? Or is it because of the Dutch government making a mess of this whole program?
Well, allow me please not to comment on the national rollout. It's your responsibility on national level to discuss these points and to discuss the issues. Everybody knows that rollout is now key. And again, for me, the fundamental question for trust and for the question of credibility of the state is that together, European, national and regional level, we must keep our summer promise that everybody's vaccinated until the end of summer, and then we can win back a lot of this mistrust and this anger which is currently among Europeans, and every politicians understand the anger because we are also frustrated. Things are not going so perfectly currently in Europe, and that's why the summer promise is so key.
Okay, Manfred Weber, thank you so much for your time today.
I thank you so much. Have a good day.
You too. Bedankt voor het kijken. Vond je dit een goed gesprek? Vergeet dan niet te abonneren. Een like of een reactie achterlaten kan natuurlijk ook. Of bekijk een van de andere interviews op dit kanaal.